Assalamualaikum. I am Mian Shahid Tunio from BB19 University campus. Today I am here for the presentation which is assigned by Mian Shahid. The contents of presentation are: number 1, what is law and its types; number 2, what is negotiable instruments; number 3, what is check and its types; number 4, difference between promissory note and check. Number 1 topic is what is law and its type. So first, what is law? Law is a system of rules and regulations by which society functions efficiently and harmoniously. The legal system protects the rights and responsibilities of both individuals and groups, and ensures social and economic interactions are conducted smoothly and peacefully. Essentially, laws serve as primary mediator of relations between people. Every state and country has its own legal system. There are many different branches of law, including corporate law, property and taxation law, though to media, environmental, health, and international law. All types of law have far-reaching effects and help to shape politics, economics, and society in numerous ways. Types of business law. Number 1 type of business law is employment law. Especially in today's modern workplace, it is vital for any company with even one employee to stay abreast of current employment laws. Are you required to offer health insurance or workers' company insurance? Has your business discriminated against an employee? Or stood by while one employee committed sexual harassment against another? There are many areas where your company could face major financial liability, not to mention the potential loss of reputation when treating employees unfairly. Second type of business law is immigration law. There are more and more occasions where immigration law becomes an issue in modern business. Temporary employees, full-time employees, and special event workers may be from other countries. You need to know if you are following the law when dealing with foreign labor. The third type of business law is contract drafting, or negotiations, or litigation. Whether for a property lease or for product sale, contracts help make sure that parties who are making a deal are on the same page. Attorneys can help make sure your best interests are represented when your business enters into a contract. The fourth type of business law is intellectual property. Businesses may need to patent unique products in order to protect that work in the marketplace. Otherwise, anyone could sell a product your company worked hard to make. Copyright laws will protect creative work, and you will need to file for protection if your business is identified by a unique logo. The second number topic is negotiable instrument. So what is negotiable instrument? A negotiable instrument is a signed document that promises a sum of payment to a specified person or the assignee. In other words, it is a formalized type of IOU, a transferable signed document that promises to pay the bearer a sum of money at a future date or non-demand. The payee, who is the person receiving the payment, must be named or otherwise indicated on the instrument. Because they are transferable and assignable, some negotiable instruments may trade on a secondary market. Understanding the negotiable instruments. Negotiable instruments are the transferable in nature, allowing the holder to take the funds as cash or use them in a manner appropriate for the transaction or according to the preference. The fund amount listed on the document includes a notation as to the specific amount promised and must be paid in full either on demand or at a specific time. A negotiable instrument can be transferred from one person to another. Once the instrument is transferred, the holder obtains a full legal title to the instrument. These documents provide no other promise on the part of the entity issuing the negotiable instrument. Additionally, no other instructions or conditions can be set upon the bearer to receive the monetary amount listed on the negotiable instrument. For an instrument to be negotiable, It must be signed with a mark or signature by the maker of the instrument, the one issuing the draft. This entity or person is known as the drawer of funds. Examples of negotiable instruments. One of the more common negotiable instruments is the personal check. It serves as a draft payable by the payer's financial institution upon receipt and the exact amount is specified. Similarly, a cashier's check provides the same function, however, it requires the funds to be allocated or set aside for the payer to the check being issued. Money orders are similar to checks but may or may not be issued by the payer's financial institution. Often, cash must be received from the payer prior to the money order being issued. Once the money order is received by the payee, it can be exchanged for cash in a manner consistent with the issuing entity's policies. Travelers' checks function differently as they require two signatures to the complete transaction. At the time of issue, the payer must sign the document to provide a specific signature. Once the payer determines to whom the payment will be issued, the counter signature must be provided as a condition of payment. Travelers' checks are generally used when the payer is traveling to a foreign country and is looking for a payment method that provides an additional level of security against theft or fraud while traveling. Other common types of negotiable instruments include bills of exchange, promissory notes, draft, and certificate of deposit. So, third topic is what is check and its types. What is check? A check is a written, dated, and signed instrument that directs a bank to pay a specific sum of money to the bearer. The person or entity writing the check is known as the payer or drawer, while the person to whom the check is written is the payee. The drawer, on the other hand, is the bank on which the check is done. Checks may be cashed or deposited. When the payee presents a check to a bank or other financial institution to negotiate, the funds are drawn from the payer's bank account. It is another way to instruct the bank to transfer funds from the payer's account or the payee's account. The checks are generally written against a checking account, but they can also be used to negotiate funds from the savings or other type of account. How checks work? A check is a bill of exchange or document that guarantees a certain amount of money. It is printed for the drawing bank to give to an account holder, the payer, to use. The payer writes the check and presents it to the payee, who then take it to their bank or other financial institution to negotiate for cash or to deposit it into an account. The use of checks allows two or more parties to make a monetary transaction without the need of actually exchanging physical currency. Instead, the amount for which the check is written is a substitute for physical currency of the same amount. Checks can be used to make bill payments as gift or to transfer sums between two people or entities. They are generally seen as more secure way of transferring money than cash, especially when there are large sums involved. If the check is lost or stolen, a third party is not able to cash it, as the payee is the only one who can negotiate the check. Modern substitutes for checks include debit and credit card, wire transfers, and internet banking. Types of checks. Checks can be used for several different purposes. Certified check. One example is a certified check which verifies that the drawer's account has enough funds to honor the amount of the check. In other words, the check is guaranteed not to bounce. To certify a check, it must be presented at the bank on which it is drawn, at which time the bank will ascertain its authenticity with the payer. The cashier's check. A cashier's check is guaranteed by the banking institution and signed by a bank cashier, which means the bank is responsible for the funds. This type of check is often required in large transactions such as buying a car or a house. Payroll check. Another example is a payroll check or paycheck, which an employer issues to compensate an employee for his or her work. In recent years, physical paychecks have given way to direct deposit systems and other forms of electronic transfer. Bounce checks. When someone writes a check for an amount larger than what is held in his or her checking account, the check cannot be negotiated. This is referred to as bounce check. The check bounces because it cannot be processed as there are insufficient or non-sufficient funds in the account. A bounced check usually incurs a penalty fee to the payer. In some cases, the payee is also charged a fee. The last topic is difference between check and the promissory note. Number one difference is the meaning of check. A check is an order to the bank to pay a stated sum from drawer's account written on a specially printed form. Meaning of promissory note. A promissory note is an unconditional promise in writing made by one person to another, signed by the maker, engaging to pay on demand or at a fixed or determinable future time a sum certain in money to the order of a specified person or to bearer. The second difference is definitions. According to the section 6 of Negotiable Instrument Act 1881, a check is a bill of exchange drawn on a specified banker and not expressed to be payable otherwise than on demand. The definition of promissory note, according to the section 4 of Negotiable Instrument Act 1881, promissory note is an instrument in writing, note being a banknote or currency note, containing an unconditional undertaking signed by the maker to pay a certain sum of money only to the order of a certain person or to the bearer of the instrument. The third difference between the promissory note and the check is there are three parties, namely in the check, drawer, drawee, and pay. And in promissory note, there are two parties, namely maker and pay. In check, it can be drawn only by the account holder of a bank. In promissory note, a promissory note can be made by any person. The fifth difference between check and promissory note is the check. In a check, an order for payment is given to the bank. In promissory note, there is a promise to pay. Number 6 difference is a check is a payable always on demand. In promissory note, it may be payable on demand or after a specified time. The number 7 difference between check and promissory note is grace time. In promissory note, 3 days of grace are given in the promissory note payable after a specific time. Number 8 difference between check and promissory note is the drawer and pay may be the same person in check. In promissory note, the maker and the pay or drawer may not be the same person. The 9 difference between the check and promissory note. In check, no stamps required to be affixed. In promissory note, the stamps are required to be affixed. Number 10 difference between the check and promissory note. The check can be crossed. The crossing of promissory note is not